Hey, welcome to another episode of the Not Scrum Done podcast. I'm your host, Andreanna Marshall, and that is my amazing co host.
Grand Scrum Master Scott. Hi, everyone.
So, we recently attended a virtual face to face with Scrum.org. This is where professional Scrum trainers get together and we talk about the state of Scrum, what we're seeing in the marketplace, how we can help make our classes better, our consulting, our coaching, how we can help our teams get better. So it was a really amazing event. And I don't know about you, Scott, but it was really nice to meet people that I don't normally interact with. What we want to do is take some of those learnings and give them to you. During the day, there's a lot that we learned, but if you can just briefly summarize for the people what surprised you the most.
I would be happy to, Andreanna. I give you a positive and a negative. What surprised me the most first was the shocking evidence to find out people are using Chat GPT to try to pass Scrum.org exams. Ladies and gentlemen, don't do that. Don't do that. You got to know this stuff. You got to perform on the job to do this stuff. There's a place for Chat GPT. It's not to try to help you pass the exam. And plus, if you get caught with that, that is an ethical violation. Every certification has their own ethical standpoint of that. So please don't do that. Learn what you need to learn so you can be successful. Now, the other thing that was shocking to me is that there's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence taking over human beings, even in the Agile and Scrum communities. But that would be on the positive side. And we had some great discussions there, Andreanna. Your thoughts?
I'll quickly add on to the first point that you made using ChatGPT. I was looking at a YouTube video where they were talking about product owner questions. And the person in the chat was arguing, saying, Chat GPT said this. And the person in the chat, like in was actually wrong. Chat GPT was giving wrong answers. You really have to be careful. It's taking what's on the internet, and not everything is a great source. Scrum.org is a fantastic source. There is a blog post or two updated every single day. There's so much amazing content out there by a collection of professional Scrum trainers that you can check out for free. It doesn't cost you anything. Then I'll say for me, the surprising thing is just how many people are now attending skills classes. So there's just been an increase. It's a great time. Skills classes, meaning facilitation skills, EBM. There are some other classes over the next few months that are coming out via scrum.org that you'll be able to improve your skills. And I think this is a really awesome time, especially if you have that base of Scrum and you want to get better at other things, especially if you're a Scrum Master. There's so much in that accountability, facilitation, coaching, mentoring, teaching your organization, and you have to help the product owner. So continuously learning and improving is going to really help you. And it's really awesome to see an improvement of that. Now that we talked about some things that surprised us, let's talk about the actual state of Scrum. I've already mentioned that people are becoming more interested in taking skills classes. We talked about how Scrum is maturing. There's a lot more people that have the base level knowledge. People are trying to expand their knowledge and their skill set. What are your thoughts on this, Scott?
You're right, Andreana. We have crossed the chasm. I forget what book that is, but you identified as the maturity stage of Agile and Scrum. Agile and Scrum both, we've been around more than 20 years. It's documented that we don't have to prove ourselves to these and organizations anymore. There's plenty of case studies out there. There's plenty of documentations out there. Just what you need to do. I know the economy is not great right now. All those Scrum Masters that was in the pandemic, this is a great time for you to level up on your skill set. What should you be doing right now? Anybody call me and ask me for my advice? Here's my 2 cents. Level up on your skill set, because during the pandemic, you can just go get your certification and go to work. Pandemic Scrum Masters are gone now. But if you got the skills you need to do the job to build high performing teams, remember, we do Scrum. People are not paying you to do Scrum and Agile. They paying you to solve problems. And that's why Scrum.org is leading more to the skills base. For example, the facilitation skills class that came out last year, and that's a great class. I recommend each and every Scrum Master to go work on your facilitation aspect. I went to Toastmasters many years ago so that I can get that skill set, because there really wasn't nothing else on the market that after I did my research that I could go actually practice the skills of a facilitator. Our class at scrum.org, they did a heck of a job with that facilitation skills class. You actually going to practice this stuff. And that's how you learn, ladies and gentlemen. You learn by actually doing. Andriano.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So that kind of takes us to a topic that you brought up that was the most surprising, which is the AI conversation. And I think we spent the most time talking about AI, which is hilarious, but that's just where we're at in society in general. You go to YouTube now, you see a ton of videos about AI. You go anywhere, people are having this conversation, and you've already touched on it quite a bit. There are things that AI just can't do. It doesn't have interpersonal skills. It can't build relationships. I would say that's the biggest thing. To be successful in your career, building great relationships with people, earning respect and trust are vital, and AI can't do that. The ability to negotiate, emotional intelligence, AI just doesn't have that. I don't know if it ever will. Currently, AI just takes everything that's on the internet and gives you something back. Sometimes it copies it completely, and sometimes it gives you crap. I think it's really great for like generating ideas, but it doesn't take away that, it can't take away that human element yet. What are your thoughts on that?
I totally agree, Andreanna. That was again, most of the time we spent together on Friday was about artificial intelligence. That debate, I remember one PST had just left a Agile coach conference, and that was the topic of the Agile coach conference. Oh, AI is going to overtake human beings. But here's what she shared with us that got me to thinking, to confirm my thinking. The problem with AI is it cannot help you when you're in an unknown environment because all the data it's going to spit out is input. So if it doesn't have the data about this circumstance or this situation, it's not going to help you. So that's where you and I, as human beings, we're indisposable because we are made for the unknown. And when she said that, I got to thinking, I'm like, that's a very good point. We built for the unknown.
That's an amazing point. That's awesome. I like that story. There was also a conversation about feeding certain AIs. ChatGPT is the most popular, but feeding it information and seeing if it can understand well enough to actually be able to think like a scrum master. And so far, it isn't capable of doing that. But there also was a conversation about creating an actual scrum bot. What do you think about that, Scott?
I think we're not there yet. And we had a lot of debates on that conversation, things that I didn't think about. So I'm grateful for the conversation because, again, if we put in the wrong information into that bot, it's going to give everybody in the world the wrong information. And Andriana, our job is hard enough trying to make sure people are not scrum dumb as it is. And you add another bot to the equation. Oh my God. Let's pause that. But we had some really good discussions around that. I think it will happen at some point in time. There's already doing it. I mean, somebody talked about how they're doing it for Agile Coach Bot. Will give you all kinds of Agile coaching advice. I'm not interested in looking at that, exploring that any further. But it's good to know the stuff is out there, and it's good to know that when I'm in class, when we're in class, Andriana, hey, I went on this Agile Coach Bot and it said this is that's okay. That just means I need to work better on my teaching skills because I know these questions are going to come up in our class. So we just need to be prepared to help them not be scrummed down.
The other thing that I do really like that's should be coming out soon is the Atlassian Intelligence. It integrates AI with Jira and Confluence. What do you think about that, Scott?
I think that's going to be a good one from what I'm hearing, Andriana. Yeah, you're going to be able to do things like product backlog management. It will highlight if you got any problem areas there, any impediments. It will highlight that. I don't know very much about it. I mean, of course, it's in beta or it's not out to the public yet. So just my imagination running wild. It'll be cool because I'm thinking about those people who creating a filter may be scary to them. Like you have to know a little bit of JQL to create searches and filters right now on Jira. But of course, it's going to be made easier where you don't even have to know that. So I think that's going to be a great thing and help a lot of Scrum Masters out. Your thoughts?
Another thing that they're doing, especially with Confluence, is it's going to be able to answer any company's like institutional knowledge and policies in Confluence. So, for example, how much can I spend on my office setup, or how do I set up my development environment? I will say I forget a lot of things, especially if you're not spending every single day. Like, how much can I spend on this, or how do I book my travel? Things like that are going to save so much time where you're not digging through the information. It's going to be so much easier. I can see that being a genuine value add to the market. Hopefully you got some really awesome takeaways from this video, some AI tools to use, how to use them, how not to use them, and how to improve yourself over time with some of these skill courses. And feel free to reach out to us anytime if you have questions on the assessment. Instead of just using ChatGPT, you can always get some free information from us. We've helped people that don't even take our class. We send them information and tips on how they can pass. If you stay to the end of this video, then that means you have an attention span greater than a goldfish.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for helping us to reach the 30 episode milestone. Thank you so much for all your support. And as always, be legendary, but not scrum down.